to start off, let's just say I'm 17. I just graduated high school. And at this time, I'm very ambitious. I'm very hungry for what I want. So the struggles that nobody sees. When I was first building my barber business, I had no clientele. None of my friends were coming to me. Nobody wanted to get a haircut by me. I was literally just cutting my brother, and I would sit at the shop all day hoping to get a walk-in. Right? So I would sit at the shop all day hoping to get a walk-in, posting on my Snapchat story every single day, posting on Instagram. I'm posting pictures of my haircuts, videos of my haircuts. I'm getting a decent amount of likes because people are supporting me in my journey and what I'm doing in my life now, but nobody wanted to come and sit in my chair. So I would go weeks on weeks on weeks of nobody coming in. People supporting me, rooting me on from the sidelines, but when I tell them to come get a cut, nobody would ever want to pull up. So when I first started cutting hair, that was my biggest problem, bro. That was my biggest issue. And I really struggled to get myself to a position where I had consistent clientele, where people were coming to me, my friends or whatnot. And throughout this time, I literally, before I graduated barber school, I quit my daytime job. I quit my 9 to 5. Not really, it wasn't 9 to 5. I was working part-time. But either way, with the time that I did have, I had to quit that job. And when I went into barbering, I did full time. Like, I risked everything. I risked the income that I was making. I had a car at the time. So everything that I made, I still had to take care of all of my own bills. I had to take care of my phone. I had to take care of my car, all this stuff. If anything went wrong with my car, I had to fix it, of course. So all these things I had to take care of on my own. Luckily, I had parents that, for the most part, I didn't have to pay that much in bills a month, but I was so on point with everything that I was doing. I wasn't reliant on nobody. I was already independent by the time that I was 17. I was figuring out my own way. I was doing things the way that I wanted to do them. So at this time, I'm working in the barbershop from 9 in the morning to 6, 7 p.m. at night. I was the first one in, the last one out. And it was like this for a long time. I'm going to the barbershop 9 p.m., 7 p.m. And I'll be honest, bro, there would be days where I would just starve myself. I wouldn't eat no food until I got home because, first of all, I didn't feel like I deserved any food. I didn't accomplish nothing while I was at the barbershop. And second, I was being super frugal because I didn't know when was the next time I was going to get paid for my haircut. There would be days I would sit there 9, 10 hours, 10-hour days, bro. And I'd literally go home with $40, $20, $80 on a good day. So I was sitting there for the entire day, watching haircuts, recording, like watching videos. I would be on my stories. I would be talking to clients that weren't mine, doing whatever it took for me to get to a position where hopefully someone could trust me. Because all I remember seeing is those Chris Basio videos. All I remember seeing is those Dre Clipper Hands videos. Vic Blends, and I'm like, okay, cool, I gotta be in the shop, I gotta show my face, and that's all that I was doing. So I would go really long stretches without getting clients, and bro, I was even scared to cut people. Like, people would come in, and I'd low-key run to the bathroom to be like, yo, man, I would hype myself up in the bathroom, like, all right, man, I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, I gotta do the 0.5, and I gotta do the 1.5, and I'm literally going through my head like, yo, what are the steps that I'm supposed to be doing? Because I would be so rusty by the time that I got my next cut, bro. I would literally have to go and basically learn barbering over and over again. So I'd go in the bathroom and I'd hype myself up. I'd be like, yo, come on, bro, you got this. This is what we do. We the best. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be the best haircut we ever did. I'm literally in the bathroom hyping myself up, and I'm like, come on, let's go, let's lock in. Smacking myself, everything. So I'd come out, I'd pretend like I just finished using the bathroom, boom, and then I would practice my call over. I'm like, yo, trying to sound confident. Crazy, right? I wasn't even confident in my cutting skills at the time. So I would tell them to pull up, and it was always like they sensed it, bro. They could always see, like, he does not, what the heck, bro? This dude's bugging. He's going in circles. But they would always know that I wasn't like a barber yet. Like, I didn't feel like a barber. I wouldn't talk like a barber. I wouldn't act like a barber. And if you're a barber, then you know. But at this time, I'm just like trying to be as confident as possible. They'd get in my chair, bro, and I swear I would take like an hour and a half, 2 hours just for the cut to come out like dog shit, bro. The cut would come out trash. And I would be so discouraged, bro. Every day, every haircut, I'm just like, bro, that sucks so bad. And very rarely, every once in a while, I would get that cut. And I was like, you know what? I'm proud of that one. I like this one. I like this one. And slowly, over time, they started getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And I started doing more haircuts with different types of hair. And I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to get the hang of this, right? So as I'm going through this journey of trying to get better at cutting hair, I'm constantly documenting the process. I'm showing off videos. I'm showing off my haircuts. I'm showing off my process. I'm trying to get in tune with the content. And slowly, I had a couple people that weren't my friends, but they knew me. They saw me around, so they were supporting me more than my close friends. You know what I'm saying? So don't expect your close friends or your family to be the biggest supporters. Sometimes your biggest supporters is going to be the people that's been watching you from a distance, right? So I'm getting a few more people coming to me. They showing love, you know what I'm saying? They paying me 25, 30 bucks, which at the time for me was great. But at the same time, I got bills, you know, so I really got to get it. So at this time, I was around, at that time, you know, I'm smoking weed. I'm selling drugs. I'm in my car. I'm doing DoorDash. So I'm really getting it. I'm doing everything that I can. As soon as I get out of the barbershop, I'm going and I'm doing what I got to do. I'm doing DoorDash, and whenever somebody hits me up for something, I'm going over to them. I'm just sliding over there. And bro, every single day for 7 days a week, bro, literally all that I was doing was cutting hair, doing DoorDash, selling drugs. Cutting hair, doing DoorDash, selling weed, selling edibles, whatever. You feel me? I was doing whatever I could to get what I needed. So I'm smoking, I'm selling weed, I'm talking like zips, like full zips. I would have pounds, bro, for no reason, because I wasn't even selling like that. I wasn't even moving like that. But all that I knew was the people that's really pushing work, they're buying a lot, right? So I understood the concept of buying a lot and being able to retain more in terms of what I'm selling. But it would take forever to sell anyway. So it was really stupid of me to buy as much as I was buying. But I'm doing all of this, bro, just so that I could make sure that I'm making enough, that I'm getting by. And at the time, now I realize, but at the time I didn't realize how big of a risk that was and how far that could have set me back. But it got to the point where I was starting to sell to a bigger variety of people, and I was doing DoorDash and I'm doing all these things, and my name is kind of getting out there a little bit. More people hitting me up, and then it got to the point where this one dude had ordered for me, and I pull up on him, and he basically just runs off with the pack. And I get into kind of like a little high-speed chase. We like running red lights. We cutting off cars. I'm going on the wrong side of traffic, all this stuff. And I'm following him, and I got a stick shift car at the time, so I'm kind of having fun with it. But then I realized, man, and this was God talking to me, and I didn't realize it at the time, but this was God talking to me. He said, yo, is it really worth it? And as I'm chasing him, I'm out, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of driven by a little bit of anger at this point. And not even anger, bro. I would say it was insecurity, dog. Like, man, if I let this dude run off, what are people going to think? They're going to think I'm soft, all this stuff. So, but then, like, God just told me, like, yo, is it worth it? Chasing this dude, possibly crashing your car, ruining your life? And I said, you know what? I'm not going to chase. So, at that point, I had to decide, man, if I'm going to do barbering, I got to go all in. I got to go as hard as I can with barbering. And I stopped selling, bro. I stopped doing that. I stopped buying. I stopped doing anything that related to that. I would smoke because my brother would get some, and I would smoke for free, basically. But at the time, I'm just like, dog, like I gotta let this go, because if I don't, it could lead down the wrong path. It could get me hurt. And I just realized, bro, like this is another way of me just seeking validation. Like I don't want to sell drugs. I'm not that type of guy. But it was just the way that I grew up. Everyone around me was doing it. It was the easiest way I knew to get some money. And then obviously I was already doing DoorDash, so it was a pretty easy excuse for me to hide from my parents or whatnot. So I'm doing all this, bro, and I get to the point where my barber is doing decent. I'm bringing in $200 a day. You feel me? And to me, that was pretty smooth, you know. And this was right before I actually ended up moving from Florida, from New York, my bad, from Long Island. So I was in Long Island, and I had just got to the point where I'm making like $1,000 a week, and to me, that's great. You know what I'm saying? I believe I was like 18, almost 19. I'm making like a 800 to $1,000 a week, and all of my friends, that got regular jobs, they probably making around the same $700, $800 a week. So to me, I'm like, man, finally I caught up to these guys, cause all the way up until then, I'm looking at all of my friends and I'm like, yo, they doing so good. They making $700 a week, $600 a week working at McDonald's, and I'm like, bro, I'm over here eating shit, fucking working 15, 16-hour days for nothing, for a couple $100, because I would do DoorDash and it would give me a couple $100 a day, maybe $100 a day. So I was able to complete, what I needed with the DoorDash, but at the same time, bro, it was so unreliable. Like, I'm literally sitting there putting my car in danger. I'm literally putting my life in danger, driving during the winter time and the snow and everything just to make a few bucks, hoping that people tip me, bro. Like, that's crazy. I was literally living hoping that people would tip me from doing DoorDash. So at this time, I'm still living a sinful life, honestly. Like, I'm hanging out with girls. It's like the first time that I was single in a long time. So I'm like hitting up girls. I'm chilling with girls. I'm trying to figure myself out as a man, to be honest, because it really wasn't even about getting the girls. I was honestly trying to prove something to myself of, man, you are a man, you are this, you are that. And the whole time I didn't realize that I was actually doing the opposite. I was exposing my insecurities by chasing women. And this is the part of my life where I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to understand a lot more, but my relationship with God just wasn't there, if I'm being 100. My relationship with God just wasn't strong. It wasn't significant. And I was really geared more towards spirituality. So I wasn't looking for God. I wasn't looking for the truth. I was just looking for mindfulness, for peace. These are the things that caught my attention. I want to be peaceful. I want to be meditating. And so that kind of led me down a different path. So I'm 18, 19 years old, and I'm kind of on this journey. I finally let go of the drugs or whatnot, of selling drugs, but I'm still obviously doing it. But my barber business is getting a little bit better. But a year prior, I actually made a commitment to myself that by summer of 2022, by the end of 2022, I'm going to move to Florida. So the only thing that was going through my mind was like, yo, I need to get as good as I can at cutting hair. That way, by the time I get to Florida, I could get into any shop that I want to. I could go wherever I want to go. So I'm creating content. I'm trying to master the art of content. I'm trying to master the art of cutting hair. And finally, like, I would get a couple videos that would do decent, on my content, but my hair cutting skills just still wasn't as good as they needed to be in order for it to really pop off. Nor did I have the structure or the skills to get a video to pop off. So I'll end up moving to Florida in October of 2022, the year after I graduated. So I was in Long Island building up my clientele for a year and 3 months. And I'm telling you, as soon as I started getting to the point where I'm like pretty booked up, I got some motion going, I'm like, all right, y'all, deuces. And bro, it was the most ballsy move I've ever made, dog. And it took a lot of heart. But again, I think that was God just guiding me to where I needed to be, by coming out here, because there was no other reason, man. Like, that was really just God just letting me know, Brando, you can't grow over here. You can't do what I've called you to do if you stay in this place. There was a couple factors that went into that, whether it was my family, whether it was my friends, whether it was my old habits. I wanted more and I needed to do more, and it was just a little bit too comfortable being at home in Long Island, and I wanted to come back to Florida. So I get to about $4K a month, bro, for the first time cutting hair, and then I end up moving to Florida. So at this time, I sold my other car. I had a G35. I sold it, and I've kind of stashed that money away. And I was really putting a lot of it into investments. Like I was already knowing, like, all right, if I want to be successful, I got to start investing in something. So I would take this money and I gave it to one of the guys that I was trusting in. You know, we went to high school together. He was an upperclassman, but for some reason, I thought he was somebody trustworthy, man. I really thought that I could trust him with my money, with my finances. But I was so oblivious to the world that I trusted another man with a few $1,000s. And he said, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to put it in stocks and I'm going to make more money with your money. And then whenever you're ready, I'll pay you out. I'm like, okay, cool. Stupidest shit I've ever done, right? Sounds really retarded now looking back, and I would never trust another man like that in my life because of that, when it comes to that, right? But this is part of my story as well, because you'll see what I mean later on. This man runs off with my bread. At that point, I ended up giving him probably like 5 racks, 6 racks, and it was supposed to basically turn into about $8,000 with all the time that I left it with him. And then obviously when I started reaching out to him like, hey, yo, can you do this? Like I need my money, boom, boom, boom. Going ghost. So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, I kind of took that on the chin. It hurt my heart like shit, bro, because man, that was the $8,000 that I was depending on for when I got to Florida, right? And if I'm being real, bro, I was shook. I think I only had like $1,000 to $2,000 in my bank account when I moved out here, dog. And I honestly didn't have a plan. I didn't have a set place to work. I really didn't know where I was moving until a couple months before. Everything kind of came together last minute, but I was telling myself for an entire year, I'm going to Florida. I'm going to Florida. I'm going. And, you know, thank God, like, things worked out. Like, my stepbrother was willing to bring me into his crib for a few months. That way I could get on my feet, get everything going. So I was over there, and I ended up finding a barbershop. And literally at that barbershop, bro, I was the last chair. There was one last chair available, and this was like the best shop in the city at the time. So I get into the best shop in the city, and I talk to the owner. I'm like, yo, I just moved out here from Florida. I'm super ambitious. This is my work. Boom, boom, boom. And he's like, okay, you pretty good. And he lets me know. He's like, all right, boo friends XYZ. He's like, all right, this is the expectation. This is what we uphold. I'm like, cool. So I'm already going into this, and I'm looking at all the barbers. Yo, they hard, they nice. I ain't never been around barbers that's this nice. The dudes at the shop that I was at, some of them was good, but they wasn't that good, right? So before I was comparing myself to their work, and I'm like, oh man, I'm catching up. I'm doing good. But now that I'm in this new shop, I'm seeing real talent. I'm seeing real dudes that's really like nice with the clippers, that's nice with the shears, that's moving, cutting super fast. I'm like, whoa. Excuse me. It was just an eye-opening moment for me. So I just moved to the barbershop, and I'm like, yo, you know what? I need to step my game up. So I get back in the groove of watching videos. I get back in the groove of being hungry and watching people standing up, watching them cut, asking questions. And slowly I start working my way up towards the front of the barbershop. Owner starts to see I'm talkative. I'm actually out there doing something. I'm recording videos. Mind you, at this time, there's not many people in the barbershop recording videos. I was really like the main one because I just came to Florida and I'm dead hungry, bro. I'm dead hungry. I'm like, yo, I gotta get it. I actually came into the barbershop with one other dude. He kind of came in before me. So he came in before me, but he's taking walk-ins. There was a couple other people taking walk-ins. Not many, but I already knew, like, if I want to stamp myself in this place, I gotta perform. I can't be out here giving out booty cuts. I can't be out here giving a bad service. I can't be having bad conversations. I need to do everything in my power because my skills wasn't there. The other dude that came in, bro, his skills was nasty phase, right? I wasn't there yet. I had my swag, I had my stuff, but I was nowhere near where these guys was at. So there's this other barber in the shop that as I got closer to the front, the owner had put me and him together. His name was T-Boo Cuts. And man, he guided me so well as I was coming up, as I was understanding the game, as I was understanding barbering, and he allowed for me to truly get in my element and feel comfortable, bro, because it's so hard to get into a shop where there's a bunch of older guys and you're out here trying to create content, you're out here trying to understand the game. So T-Boo had really helped me out a ton, man, so well that we started hanging out, met his kid, met his girl. We would hang out all the time, and he kind of guided me in a very good way, bro. And more importantly, bro, he kind of started leading me towards God. Even though he wasn't all the way in with God, he still led me towards God. He would give me music to listen to. He would give me tips on my haircuts. He would tell me all these things, and it was just a great environment. Like, I felt super comfortable with him. Kind of felt like a bigger brother, and it was something that I desperately needed at that time. And that's just how God works. Like, God is always going to bring you the people that you need when you most need them. As long as you're trying and you're doing better and you're doing your part, God will always find people that he can use to work in you to help you with your journey. So in the same way that I found the barbershop, in the same way that he called my brother to me, that's like exactly what God does. He uses the people in order to get us to where we need to go. So if God is putting somebody in your life, be aware, like, pay attention, have the discernment to know, like, man, is this somebody that God wants in my life? And if you're not sure, just ask him, God, why is this person here? Make it clear why this person is here. And if good things come from that, great. If bad things come from that, great. Just make the decision that actually aligns with what God wants for you. So boom, T-Boo's helping me out. He's helping me with my cuts. He's helping me with my confidence and how I should see, like, how I should be. And, like, he's pretty much letting me know, like, yo, no matter what level you're at, you're always going to want to work harder. You're always going to feel like your haircuts aren't good enough. You're always going to see, like, imperfections. So that gave me a lot more confidence in just putting my videos out there, because a lot of times I wouldn't post any videos because I felt like my cuts wasn't good. But even though he wasn't posting any videos and he thought the same thing, he was telling me, he was like, yo, you got to get over that. Like, he was telling me that he hasn't been able to get over it, and that's why he isn't exactly where he could be. But he was telling me, he's like, yo, if you get over that, you could be a problem. You could do really well in this. So I'm like, okay, cool. So as I'm going through this, I'm elevating, I'm creating content, I'm doing everything that I can to pretty much get better at the content and what I was doing. I run into these creators on Instagram. And bro, they're creating barber content and they look really good. Like, they look super professional. The videos look fire. They're super inspiring to me because I'm seeing how they're putting the videos together and I'm seeing patterns. Like, I'm seeing this dude's video looks like this dude's video, and then this dude's video is working and this dude's video is working. So I start doing everything I can to start making my videos look like their videos. And I was at the point where I'm like, man, I was super desperate, and I'm like, God, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I'm like, God, can you please make it clear to me what it is that I'm supposed to do? I'm literally like, as I grew in my relationship, I finally started asking God to help me. So because I grew in my relationship with God, now I'm actually knowing what direction I'm supposed to be going in my life and what I need help with. I was willing to just ask. So I'm asking God, I'm like, God, what do I need to do in order to get into this position? Because, bro, I've been getting my haircuts better. I've been giving a good service. I've been having good conversation. I've been this guy, but I'm just not seeing any growth. It's like week after week, I'm like hoping to be booked up. I'm hoping to have more clients. And don't get me wrong, I was getting more booked up, but it wasn't aligning with my income. Like, my income just, it kind of stayed the same. It plateaued for so long. I'm like, bro, what am I supposed to be doing here? How do I get this to increase? And then one of the barbers who I was actually liking their content and stuff, they reached out to me, and he was like, yo, I see you're a barber, bro. Your work is dope. I'm just reaching out to you because I got a mentor, and I think you would definitely appreciate like getting some guidance and stuff. So I'm gonna lock you in my mentor. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, dope. This is almost exactly what I needed. This is what I'm asking God. I'm like, God, how do I do this? At the time, I didn't even realize there were any mentors. I didn't know there was people that helped other barbers grow their business, specifically scaling their income with social media content. And I'm like, bro, this is exactly what I need. So I start talking to this man, and he's kind of breaking a few things down to me, and I'm like, bro, I've never heard of nothing like this, but it sounds like literally everything that I need, right? He's talking to me about group calls and feedback on content and helping me with everything. So I'm like all for it. I'm like, all right, cool. We hop on a call. At the end of the call, he's taking me through everything. At the end of the call, he's like, yo, it's gonna be 7 racks. I'm like, woo. 7? Damn. I'm like, bro, all that I have is 7,000. Like, I just took $2,000 from my mom. Like a few weeks before that, my mom had gave me $2,000 that was hers, that my grandma had saved up while my mom has been locked up. My mom was locked up for a while, and the reason I came to Florida is because she was about to get out. So she's literally on her way out, but she's telling me, yo, take those 2,000 and turn that into 4. My mom's trusting me with her bread to flip that into more money, because she knows, like, you can't do nothing with 2 racks, right? So I got my $5,000 that I had saved up, and then she got $2,000, and now I'm sitting at like $7,000. I'm sitting at 7, bro. I put all $7,000 into working with Deluxe, into working with that other mentor. For those of you that don't know who he is, I put every single penny that I had, every single dollar, and I take this money, I invested in him, and now I have no money in my bank account. I have nothing, bro. And I'm in this barbershop, and I'm like, yo, did I just get scammed again? But this time was different. This time was different because I saw the proof. I realized that all these people that I've been watching, all these people that had patterns in their content, that he was the one that was teaching them. They all followed him. And I saw them on the group calls, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. This is not a joke. So as soon as I come in, I'm super excited. I'm ready. I'm creating content left and right. And I'm starting to get things going. I'm starting to attract a few people from social media. And man, it was really hard at first. Like, it was a real learning curve for me to be able to take in everything that was being said, and then being spread so thin when we would hop on the group calls. And it's like, bro, there was so many people on there. It was so many people on there, to the point where I literally, instead of hopping on and asking for help, I would literally just hop on and watch other people's stuff, because I didn't feel like my work was worthy of being shown, which was a terrible mindset, because that doesn't help me. That doesn't serve me at all, right? I invested this bread so that I can get feedback on my content. So I would end up not hopping on the call. I would end up hopping on the calls and not getting feedback. I would do that so often that I ended up hopping on the calls, or I would end up not even hopping on the calls. So I was just creating content, trying to make it better, because I felt like I knew what was good, right? So time passes, and I'm still charging like $30, $35. And I think I'm like 5 months in, and it's to the point where, like, the guy that got me in, he's like, yo, I've barely seen you at all in these past few months. Like, where have you been? And so looking back, I realized he gave me like a pity price raise. Like, yo, nah, it's time for you to up your prices. So he's like, yo, go up from 35 to 45. I'm like, bro, $10? I'm like, all right, cool. Cause I'm don't get me wrong, like I'm getting somewhat booked up, like more booked up than I've been, but I'm not like booming for me to like go up like a crazy amount. So I'm like, all right, cool, $45, go up $10, I'll do it, right? And then it was crazy because the people at the shop, they're way better than me, and they're charging $45. They're charging $55 as like luxury type service, basically. And I'm like, damn, bro, like this dude is good, this dude is good, this dude's better than me, and I'm charging the same amount as these guys. I'm like, dog, this dude, I might just ruin my business messing around. And then I would have people speak to me like, yo, you should go up like $5. I don't think you should go up 10. Like that's a big jump, all this stuff. And even though like a part of me is like, damn, like he's low key right, the other part of me is like, bro, what am I supposed to do? Like follow you, like do what you're doing, like thank you, but no thank you. Like I don't want to end up like you. I don't want to be cutting hair for 15, 20 years, bro. I don't want to be stuck behind the chair. I don't want to have to cut hair to make money. Like as much as I know, like it was probably like just like helping me and guiding me. I'm like cool, but at the same time, bro, I got something more that I want to do in this world. So I end up, I'm like, all right, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, bro, I'm like, nah. I'm like, instead of lowering myself and staying at that 45, staying like instead of going to 40 instead of 45, I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm just make sure that my work is good enough to charge that 45, and I'm gonna make sure that my content is still bringing me in more people. So what I started doing was I started showing up on the calls, and I started asking for feedback, and I started to get bangers, and I'm starting to get more videos, kind of getting a little bit more motion, and I'm getting confident, and I'm hopping on these calls, and I'm being intentional. And finally I start elevating, and I start getting a few videos popping off. I start getting a few videos coming in, and I'm getting more confident. And I'm charging 45, 45, 45 all the way up until back to school. So back to school is probably like August, September. I'm not sure exactly. But I started locking back in with that. And bro, September time comes around, and I'm booming. Like people are starting to recognize me. People are starting to see me. I'm like on my way to hitting 10K on TikTok. Like my page is going up. I'm doing numbers every now and then. I got a few videos that went crazy. My Instagram is up a few thousand followers, so I'm feeling myself, right? And throughout this entire process, I'm learning, but it's taking me so long, dude, because I wasn't serious. I wasn't focused. At this time, like I'm hitting the clubs. I'm celebrating. I'm doing all these things. Like I'm going out nonstop. I'm still smoking weed. I'm still out doing stuff I shouldn't be doing. I'm doing mushrooms. I'm like staying up super late. I have no discipline. And I hit that 45, that 45, right? I'm booked out at 45 now. And I end up going up to $65 a cut, right? He's like, yo, you booked out, you got these numbers, you got 60 plus new clients, yo, you good. Like, go up to 65. I'm like, whoa. But I'm like, bet. I seen what happened when I went up to 45. I started making more money. Boom, I go up to 65. All right, smooth, let's go. Again, I'm creating more content. I'm getting really good at the content. But I'm spending late nights. I'm really invested in bettering myself, bettering my content. I'm watching all these guys that's performing. I'm like, yo, I gotta get to their level. I want to do what they doing. So I'm seeing all these guys that's blowing up ahead of me, and I'm like, yo, I need that. I'm coming after him. I start picking out my targets. But what I still didn't understand was, yo, this is real life. Like you can't half-ass your work and then think that you're gonna be one of the greats. And I'm looking at these dudes and I'm like, yo, what makes these dudes good? But I still wasn't locking in for real. I was kind of just like, whatever. If I just keep going, I'm gonna be straight, right? Consistency, which is the biggest bullshit you could ever be told. Kind of. Right? Obviously, you gotta be consistent, but that's not everything. So boom, summertime come around. It's like I'm charging 65, and I was charging 65 for a few months, and then it took me a little while to get back on track to start attracting those new clients at $65. But around November, I go up to $80. I go up to $80 price point. And around that time, people are looking at me crazy at the barbershop like, yo, you just went up to 65 and now you going up to 80. They're like, yo, you're gonna mess your business up. I got people telling me like, yo, it's okay to go back down on your price. That's a big jump. Nobody out here is gonna be paying that. You should kind of calm it down a little bit. You're gonna mess your business up. And again, it might have been coming from, them wanting to look out for me. But at the same time, these were the same people that didn't even believe that I was popping off like that. Like they would see the clients coming in, but they thought that I was buying views. They thought that I was out here doing something else. I was buying likes, I was buying followers, all this stuff, right? They still didn't believe it. But when I went up to that $80 price point, and I really mastered the content, I went up to 80, and then my time was almost up in the community, and what the coach had told me, he's like, yo, he had sent out like an email to everybody. He's like, yo, I'm putting out this new community where it's gonna be a smaller group, right? So my biggest issue was there was so many people on the call. Sometimes it would be hard to get your questions answered, to get your video review. So when he said he made this smaller group, I'm like, yo, perfect. Like this is exactly what I need. I need to be like more dialed in terms of like one-on-one kind of vibe. So I hop in this community. Now, this one was another 7K, but instead of it being for 12 months, it was for 6 months. So I literally took a bunch of the money that I had saved up, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna invest another 7K into this. I gotta go hard. Like I don't want to play around no more. I want to take this serious. I want to, if this is what I'm gonna be doing, I can't play around no more. So I take the 7 racks and I invested in him again for the next 6 months. And with that, I'm like, yo, we're hopping on the second call, right? And I'm like, yo, I do not care about none of this. I'm like, yo, I don't want to come in here and like ask questions about content. I was like, yo, I just want to be a dog. That was my whole mindset coming in. Like, yo, I don't care about nothing else. I just want to learn how to be a dog. Meaning, I want to be the hardest worker. I want to be the one that's getting all the results, that's putting in the most work, that's studying the most, that's editing the best. I want to be the one that's doing the most work, right? So this was an opportunity for me to not just be around the coach a lot more, but to be around higher level people that's really a stamp in the game, that's really killing it, right? Your average Joe isn't paying 7 racks. So when I joined this community, I love it because I don't feel like a top dog. He wasn't, in the other community, I was, he was saying my name. He was bringing my name up a lot because I had a little bit of buzz. And when I first stepped in this community, it wasn't as much my name at first. I was hearing other people's names. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got people I got to chase again, right? So I'm around these people and I'm seeing these people and I'm looking at what they're doing. And again, my mindset was a dog mindset, bro. I wanted to come and I wanted to kill. So I'm looking at these people. I'm like, yo, what do this dude got that I don't got? Okay, cool. He got this skill. I want to tune this up. So I would call people. I would hit people up. I'm like, yo, let's do some role plays. Let's chop it up about content. And I would look at the way that they thought, and I would look to understand, like, yo, what does this dude have about content that maybe I don't have? And I would be like, yo, you know what? I'll be like, yo, let's do these role plays. You'll be the client, I'll be the client, and you be the barber. And I would just kind of try and understand the way their brain works. And I would ask them questions. I'm like, yo, what made you say that? What made you talk like this? Like, what was the reasoning for this? And I would be picking their brains. And the whole time they're thinking that we're just working for, the clients, but I'm just trying to see how their brain works. So boom, I would hop on a call with certain people and I'd be like, okay, cool. I like how he does this. He's got this. This is mindset around this. All right, cool. And then other people, I would just study their content. Like I got to the point where I could watch anybody's stuff and I could break it down. I could understand piece by piece what their mindset was, what their thought process was, or I would make up my own. So I'm in this community and slowly I'm starting to see everybody's kind of doing the same thing. Everybody's like trying to be perfect. They're trying to ask the best questions, which is great. You feel me? But knowing what I know and the skills that I developed, throughout my years of content, I'm like, yo, I could create something way better than what everybody else is doing here. I was like, everybody's literally going right, trying to be this beautiful barber, trying to be this perfect barber, ask the best questions, all this stuff. And I was doing it too. And I was really good at it. But I also realized that if I do not change something about the way that I'm creating content and I'm constantly looking just like these guys, then I am constantly going to be on the same boat as these guys, on the same level as these guys, no matter how good I am. So I thought about, yo, what if I start pulling in things from other pieces of content and I start making it my own? So At this time, bro, I promise you, I stopped going to the gym. It was like perfect timing. I had hurt my shoulder at the gym. So I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm going to stop going to the gym. And the same time I would allocate to going to the gym, I'm just going to put that into creating content and getting good at creating content, right? So now, this is where that dog mentality really came out, because I was going to sleep super excited about creating content. I was going to sleep ready to elevate my content, to keep posting, to do all of these things. And then I'm looking at all these people, and I'm like, yo, you know what? Nobody's going to outwork me. I came in here, I wanted to be a dog. Let me show them what a dog really looked like. Bro, I was rolling out of bed 5 a.m. By 5:10, by 5:15, I'm yelling in my phone doing a voiceover because I got an idea. I'm rolling over in bed and I'm editing a video, and it would take me 2 hours because I would make sure it was perfect, right? And then it got to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm doing all of this work, but I'm not studying. I don't got anything new. So I'm like, all right, Smooth, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna study content. I went to my TikTok, I was looking at inspiration where they literally give me other people that do something similar to what I'm doing. So I'm scrolling, I'm trying to find something, and boom, this one shorty stand out. Her name is Destiny. So one thing that she would do, she was a braider, but one thing that she would do is she would have an attitude with her clients, and she would be hella cool, hella funny with it. So I was like, oh, that's hard. And I'm looking at her editing, I'm looking at the way that she is, and I'm like, yo, I love what she's doing, and I could see exactly why this is working. And all her videos were bangers. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna try this. I went to my coach. I'm like, yo, coach, I got an idea. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. And he was kind of just there like, shit, sound good to me, you know? Because at that point, I'm up here with it when it comes to the content. So we're creating this content, and I'm like, all right, coach, I'm gonna have something for you tomorrow. Boom, we hop on the next call the next day, and I show him the content. He's like, yo, I think you got something with this. I'm like, all right, bet. That's all I needed. He gave me the green light. I'm like, perfect. I go, I post up the content, and I'm like, all right, cool. Bro, instantly, ding, 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 ding. Bro, my views never went up so fast. My phone never blew up so fast, to the point where I was so annoyed, bro, I had to turn off my notifications on my socials. And ever since then, I never looked back. Because a lot of people think that you need to wait for something to happen in order for you to blow up. Bro, you can make that shit happen. It's not the content that goes viral, it's the idea. You need to have an idea that's so fucking great that nobody could deny that your content was amazing. Nobody. But I didn't stop there. I didn't just make this content and then just get comfortable. Don't get me wrong. Throughout all of this, I'm getting closer with God, bro, because my biggest struggle was my discipline. My biggest struggle was my structure. My biggest struggle was sleeping with women, was going out, was clubbing, it was doing all of these things, doing drugs. And as I got closer with God, it made everything so much easier. Because now that I'm not smoking weed, I could wake up in the morning and not feel groggy. Now that I'm not sleeping with women, I don't have to text 30 different women on my phone every day, try and keep up with them. I don't gotta do that. So now, instead, when I was bored, I would go study content. I would go edit content. And this is just what I would do. And as I grew closer with God, all of these things washed away. All of the females that I was talking to washed away. All the desire I had to smoke weed washed away. So now I had nothing but focus to put into exactly what I was doing. So now with this free time I have, I'm editing, I'm studying content, I'm killing the game. I got the Destiny thing going on. So I got an attitude with my clients. People are loving it. My Facebook is blowing up. My TikTok going crazy. Now, I'm in content creator mode. I'm like fully locked in. So now I got a shorty. She's at my crib. I'm locked in with her, so I'm not even thinking about nothing else. And we're watching a TV show. I think we were watching Drewski at the time. He had made like this reality TV show, and I was studying kind of the camera, the comedy, all this stuff. And I would look at how, at the reality TV portion of it, where he kind of breaks and it goes to an interview style room. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Because I like the drama, I like the beef. So everyone does, right? This is a proven system, this is a proven structure. Everyone does it. That's why reality TV works so well. So I was like, yo, you know what? How could I incorporate this into my content, and I was just reading off ideas off the top of my head, just kind of brainstorming and just spewing it out. And my girl was like, yo, I like that. I think that's gonna be good. Cool, perfect. Next day, I'm like, all right, babe, watch this. I'm gonna go do it tomorrow. It's gonna be a banger. Boom, do it the next day. First time I do that type of video, banger, popped off. I'm like, yo, okay, cool. So I got this and I got this, meaning that now there is not a single person in this world that could take my content and people not know that it was mine and not know that this person is copying me. And that is true success. When if someone tries to do what you do and people are able to notice, like, yo, hold on, you copying so-and-so, that's when you know you've made it. You should be so unique to the point where you are simply distinguished from the rest of the crowd. When everyone goes right, you go left. You never follow the crowd. Like, take the principles, learn the fundamentals of why it works, but then go and make your own thing. That's how you're gonna be in this game for the long run and how you're gonna leave an actual impact. That's the only reason why I'm here, bro. And the true thing that's really holding you back is not the content. It's not the fact that you don't know content. It's the fact that you don't have any structure, that you don't have any discipline, that you're letting all these other things distract you from the real purpose that you need to have right now. There's one focus that you should have. If you focus on one thing, the odds that you don't make it are very, 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 very low. But you don't have any focus, any discipline, at least not enough for you to get good at this one thing. You don't have to be 100% dialed in. But if you knock off 80% of these unnecessary distractions, you will succeed way more than the rest of the people. You start to realize how easy it is for you to be great. So now I'm charging, at that point, I went up to $100 because my Instagram reached like 500K followers. I'm popping on Facebook, I'm popping on Instagram. I got people making fake accounts of me, reposting my content because they just see it's instant views, bro. It's instant money. So all these people are reposting my stuff. All these people are asking me questions. All these people are showing love to my content. I got all these barbers that are asking me like, yo, you're killing it, bro. I love what you're doing. How'd you come up with this? How'd you come up with that? And it was just a seed planted in my head of like, okay, Brando, you should be a coach. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm ready for that, right? Because I'm like, I bought a PC, I bought a camera, I bought a monitor. Like, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm about to start getting into streaming. Like, I'm about to be a streamer, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm about to be a streamer. You know, I got this big following of kids. They love me. They showing mad love. They on my page. They recognize me in public. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna be a streamer. It's super easy. We got Kai Cenat popping off. We got all these guys that's popping off. I'm like, all right, this is my way. This is my avenue. It makes sense. And then God's like, no, I need you to coach. And man, this was a lot of pressure on me at the time because I had just started becoming this dog. I had just started becoming this dude that is truly disciplined, that is doing the hard stuff. And I knew if I start coaching, I'm gonna have to take this to a whole nother level, bro. Like, I've always been intelligent. I've always understood content, but I didn't realize how much personal development it takes to actually coach other people and have them become great. So at this point, I end up becoming a coach, bro, because it was just a calling that was just, it's like an itch, bro. It was like, it was itching me so bad. And I couldn't stop the itch. I couldn't stop the voice in my head from repeating it constantly to me. So instead of me running away from this calling, I'm like, yo, you know what? I call up another mentor. He's coaching. So I'm like, well, he called me actually. I hit him up. I texted him though. I'm like, yo, I'm ready. Boom. He gives me a call in like 2 minutes. I'm like, whoa. That was quick. You feel me? I ain't even have time to backtrack or nothing. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to do. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes, let's get it. And I was kind of ducking this call for a minute because I'm like, yo, this shit gonna be expensive or whatnot. I'm like, yo, I already invested 14 racks into mentorships, and I joined this community, bro. It's like, I hop on that call. He's telling me a lot of these things that I'm already kind of knowing, but it really didn't take much convincing, much selling, because at this point I have a relationship with God, and I know when something comes from God. And if God's telling me to do something, there ain't really much you could tell me to knock me off track. Like, the less he said, the better. So we're talking or whatnot, but I'm already knowing in my head, I'm like, bro, I'm doing this shit anyway. Like, what are we talking for, right? But at the end, he tells me like, yo, I believe it was like 12K to join his community for 6 months. And he was just gonna help me, come up with the coaching, like build out my business, do all these things. I'm like, all right, smooth. And so I start leveling up my content. I start changing up my content. I start posting about the coaching, and instantly, bro, I start getting blessings on blessings on blessings. And God is literally like, yo, I'm going to bless you just so that you know that this comes from me. So instantly, bro, I have a great month. I think I had my first 20-something K month or 30K. I had my first like 28K, 30K month, my first month coaching. On top of, I made like 8 racks from creating content. I made like, I think it was like 15, 18K just from cutting hair. So God was taking care of me, bro. And I started to realize, I'm like, man, my life is really changing right before my eyes. So I'm creating this content, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you know what? I really love this, and I'm starting to see why God called me to this, and I'm starting to see how much personal development I had to do. But as much as I knew how much I had to do, I also realized how far I've came. But knowing how much more I have to do, I realized, man, in order for me to be a great coach, I had to personally develop the shit out of myself. Like, it's not acceptable anymore to not be consistent, to not do the work, to take weeks off, to take days off. So I start locking in, and I'm starting to put things together. I'm trying to understand myself. I'm trying to understand the content. I'm trying to understand what it's like to coach people. So this whole journey, like, it felt kind of rough in the beginning. And then after that instant blessed period, God definitely took me through a drought, right? This is how God works, because I didn't stay in his presence. I started to focus on the promise that he gave me of helping me with this business and guiding me in this business. I started to focus more on that than being in his presence. So I was chasing the money, I was chasing the sales, I was chasing the students, not knowing that God just wanted me to be close to him, and he wasn't going to allow for me to be successful if I wasn't close to him. So I started getting back in touch with him. I hit my knees, I shed tears. I'm like, God, I don't know what it is that you're doing right now, but I'm like, God, I'm struggling. Like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. And literally that next day, bro, that next day, I got a student. That next weekend, I got another student. And bro, God was just moving for me. He was just moving, he was just moving, he was just moving. And then that next week after that, I didn't get nobody. But the week after that, I got 2 students in the same day. Just because I hit my knees and I told God, God, I'm putting you first. And that's when I learned about surrendering. That's when one of my coaches had told me about surrender. And so nobody's going to talk about these difficulties that we have as barbers, as businessmen, as coaches. But the truth of the fact is, you cannot run from the work that you have to do. You cannot run from the person that you have to become. If you want to be great, you got to put in the fucking work. You got to become somebody. You got to become someone who can inspire. You got to become someone who is of value, because I'm charging people this amount of money to come get help by me. But now on the back end, I'm like, I got to provide the value. I got to be there for these people to help change their lives. And it's up to me to do that, right? Because I'm charging them. So not only do I lead these people with content, but I'm also like, man, I want to lead these people in being a higher version of themselves. I want to lead these people closer to God. I want to lead these people to be real men, because a lot of these dudes come in and they're little boys. If I'm being 100, some of them are grown and they're little boys. Some of them are kids and they need a big brother. You know what I'm saying? And you need that, bro. Like, it's not enough for you to try and do it by yourself. If I never had coaches, I promise you, I guarantee you, I would not be where I am right now. I would be nowhere near. You need people to guide you on this journey, because if it wasn't for my mentors or all the people that I had around me at each and every point in my life, There is absolutely no way that I'll be able to go anywhere. And even to this day, I'm still looking for mentors. I'm still looking for people that align with my vision that could take me to where I got to go a lot faster. So if you are not where I am, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be looking for a mentor. There's absolutely no reason why you should be going through it by yourself, because I'm keeping it a buck, bro. If I didn't have anyone to help guide me, I would have been gave up. I would have been got tired. I would have been got discouraged. This is not an easy game, bro. And a lot of people love to talk about the sweet stuff. Yeah, I made this amount of money. I only work 4 days a week, and I do this, and I make this. Cool. But nobody's gonna tell you about the struggle that it takes, and the risk, the sacrifices that it takes in order to get there. I invested tens of thousands of dollars in becoming who I am, and I'm still investing more. I invested a lot of time. I sacrificed the gym. I sacrificed my body. I sacrificed relationships. I sacrificed lust. I sacrificed all of these bad habits in order to become this person that I am today. And I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. Not at all. This is the biggest blessing that I've ever had. And if I were to tell anybody anything, it's get help, bro. Don't figure this out by yourself. Don't try and do anything by yourself. There's people out there who are aligned with your vision, who God will send for you. If you could just pay attention to what God is telling you, you will succeed so much faster than you ever could imagine. All right. I love you guys. I hope this helped you out. This is just a small piece of my story. I'm only 22 years old, so you guys will be seeing more of me. You will be seeing me become more and more successful as you follow me on my journey. So I appreciate you guys. If you took anything away from this, what did you take away? Let me know in the comments. But make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Share this with a barber that this will inspire. Share this with anybody who this could possibly inspire. But I love you guys, man. I'll see you soon.